Welcome back to the ones who have watched the first part in our Docs as Code series. Before we jump into our objective for today's tutorial, a quick recap. In the first part, we discussed the basics of Docs as Code, the applications used, the purpose of it, its importance in the field of technical communication slash technical writing. We created a repo in GitLab. The repo is also termed as project in GitLab nomenclature. We created an, an empty project. We cloned it using VS Code. We verified its existence in our local machine. And today we are going to add some folders and files, basically create our project structure. Our objective is a technical writer's portfolio. That is the website we are building using docs as code approach, using applications VS Code, GitLab, and mkdocs for building the website itself. So our work would mostly depend on VS Code, the one that you see on screen, and in terms of Git, we'll be using GitLab as our primary software. So let's get into adding files and folders. Just to make sure that our cloning worked, this is the name of the repo that exists as a folder in our local machine with readme file, and this is the clone command that we used. Now let's try to change our directory. This is our directory name, which is also the folder name. This is a basic command prompts command cd and the folder's name. Make sure that you are in the root folder, that your root folder is right. What do I mean by that? Here is my cloned folder. My root folder is my username. That's what it says in the VS Code right here. Once I'm here, it will recognize that portfolio folder is within that. CD, folder name, enter, and now I am within my clone folder. And we have just one file called readme, a markdown file within the repo. Use this command ls-a. Hope I am right with this. This command would help you to see the hidden files too. Readme something that you can see. There are other files such as .gitignore, which we'll dwell deeper later. For now, let me show you that file in GitLab. It does exist here, but you don't see that within your repo. You just see readme because it is an internal Git configuration file. We'll definitely discuss why it is important. Gitignore file. Basically, there are things that every project or a team needs to configure what your GitLab or GitHub, whichever tool you're using, ignores few of the things for smoother operation. So to summarize, we have created our repo in GitLab, cloned it using VS Code to our local machine over here. Now, the steps that are going to remain constant from now onwards is what is docs as code approach. We code in our terms, we write, we generate our content here in VS Code, we save files which are going to be saved in our local machine, and then we push. What do? We push all the changes in files, folders, the content that we are going to update all the way to the GitLab. This is where the final output would be generated. We'll create pipeline CD, CI CD, something that I plan to discuss in future tutorials. We create pipelines to make sure that our entire repo works fine and is published as a website. Going back, starting today's objective is creating some skeleton files and folders within our directory. So the first command I'm going to run is obviously make directory. So let's quickly look at the command that we are writing. And remember, this is not going to remain constant. This is most probably a one-time action where you are going to create some folder structures. Yes, you will keep adding more folders, more pages to your documentation, but directory skeleton is a one-time action unless you don't do it right. So I've highlighted the command for your benefit. Mkdir is nothing but make directory. Minus p acts as an intermediary. It would overwrite any existing folders. We have no such problem. It's just for a precaution purpose here. From here onwards, .vs code, it's nothing but the name of the folder I'm planning to create. .vs code is one folder. Then I have something called docs itself as the name of the second folder. When you use /portfolio, it's nothing but a subfolder. Portfolio subfolder would be created within docs. Then again, I have docs/tutorials. This would create a subfolder called tutorials within the main folder docs. And same with assets and images. Images folder would be created under assets. Assets would be created under docs. This is the structure. Now, all of this is customizable. Obviously, none of these names matter. You can come up with your own folder names. I'm just going with mine. .vs code is something that I would strongly recommend you guys to use as the folder name because it is an auto identification for VS Code. All the configurations that we want our VS Code to adopt will be saved in this folder. So if you are creating this skeleton directory, do not change the name of .vs code. The rest is up to you. Enter, and the folders are created. To verify, ls -a. This is the command to see all the folders and files within your directory. You can see VS Code has been added, docs has been added. To verify if the subfolders have been created, you would just do cd space docs and the same command ls-a to see the subfolders within the docs folder. Hope you are catching up. We can also verify the creation of these folders by just looking at our local storage. Initially, this folder, our repo had just readme. Now it would have docs, and these were the subfolders that we wanted. And I'm sure this had images within it, empty, empty. Remember that we never pushed any of these changes to our GitLab. So this has not been updated until we stage, commit, and push the changes from VS Code. We are not going to do it just yet. For now, we are creating files within the folders that we just created. This is my command to create some files. Before I click enter, let's go over the entire command. And this is quite simple. Remember guys, this is not something that you would do as your daily task or daily role as a technical writer when working for docs as code. This is the setup, one-time configuration. If you have that straightened out, let's move ahead. The first term that you see in this command is touch, which creates files. To be specific, empty files. So the first file I'm creating is .vs code extensions.json. It says that the .vs code folder that we had earlier created, it will contain extensions.json file. The purpose of this extensions file is to configure the extensions that we installed in our first tutorial. If you want to rewind, just watch the tutorial. I have listed out the extensions that we wanted within VS Code to help us write better, analyze better, view better. That's the first file, extensions. The second one is .gitlab ci.yaml. YML is a short form for YAML file. This is purely for the purpose of pipeline configurations. What is pipeline? Once your docs are pushed to GitLab, you run them. The pipeline runs and you need to publish as a website. So the configurations right now, it is going to be empty. This is just a file, nothing else. It's going to be a blank file. We will configure it as we go. Third one, mkdocs dot, again, this is a YAML file. This is to configure the settings for the published website itself. So the first three files stick with the names that we have for clarity. Now the rest of them, which are under docs folder, docs, index, markdown, about markdown, these are nothing but I am defining the pages that I would like to see in the website. I would like to have an index file, which is nothing but a landing page of my portfolio, an about page, a page to contain my CV, curriculum vitae, and I want folder called portfolio and want to display my certifications, my user documentation, and hopefully docs as code series that we are doing right now. So this is the list of files and my address where I want them to go. I'm creating extensions within .vs code. The rest two I'm creating on the root folder, and all of these within the docs folder. So this is my command. You can customize the names of your portfolio however you want, or if you are not planning to create portfolio, you are just watching this tutorial to learn your existing setup, customize it as you want. It's just file and folder names, and enter. So it's created these files. Let's do our verification in the local machine rather than ls-a. Okay, it has created YAML file. It is not showing the hidden files. I believe the hidden file over here is anything to do with .vs code. Within docs, let's go there. Yes, it has created about file, CV file, and an index file for the files within portfolio, just like how we specified here. So it has followed the instructions perfectly. We are done with file setup for now. If we want more files, we want additional files, we'll keep doing that. Just as a refining process, how do you list all the files within your directory? ls -a. It will give you the folder list that is existing in the main directory, which is portfolio here, ab-portfolio. If you want to look at further files, you need to actually change your directory to one of these folders and then do the same command ls-a, and it would list you the files. Perfect. So we have folders, we have files. The first file that I would like to configure is the extensions file. It's a JSON file. The purpose of, let me highlight that for you. Yeah, this file, extensions.json. This is the file I want to configure first because it's a very simple one. I am just going to recommend all the extensions that I want for VS Code. I've already installed them. This will tell GitLab that these are the extensions. This is what is recommended, and I will be using them. This is just a JSON. To configure this extensions file, let's first open our repo over here for easier navigation. Right now, we've been just writing commands in the terminal. In VS Code, just click on open folder. We are going to select our repo, portfolio repo. Click on that, double click, or just select and click open. So this will create a site navigation for you. Terminal. We are within the portfolio folder. And instead of just searching within commands, now we can view our files right here, which makes our job easier. So extensions file is within VS Code. As you can see it after expansion, click on extensions.json and the file has opened up for you. Ignore the suggestions, we don't need that for now. I'm just going to paste my recommendations for extensions using JSON. Do not worry, you don't need to know JSON to get any of this done. I am myself not anywhere near the fundamentals of JSON. This is just a list of VS Code extensions that I'm going to list in this file, extensions.json. The black dot that you see right next to your file name, indicates in the VS Code that your current file has changes. that are not saved. Unsaved changes exist. Shortcut in Mac is Command plus S, and in Windows, I'm assuming Control S. Once you do that, the black dot disappears, indicating that it has been saved. The U that appears now indicates that this is an untracked file. Why is it an untracked file? It is saved but is not tracked. Until you stage and commit your changes, your file remains untracked. To track it, you need to stage and commit, which we are going to do now. The commands that I'm going to list right now are some of the most commonly and frequently used ones when you do changes to your content, your pages, anything. Any update to existing repo will follow these general commands. Our objectives I list out as we write each command. First one is git status. This results in list of all the changes that you have done in your repo in this session. So git status enter will tell you that there is an untracked file with changes. Which file? Not file, files in fact, because we have added all of this. The config files for pipeline, VS Code, docs, mkdocs, ML, the ones that we created and updated now. Yep. Our extension file is within .vs code. So this is the list of untracked files. This has not, this is not an input. This is just an a generative command where you ask for the status and it lists the result. To stage your changes, you have saved your changes. To stage them, what is staging means? Stage is some, it's a indication to Git that I am staging all these files to commit to GitLab. In our instance, to commit to the remote directory, which is nothing but GitLab in the browser. So my next command after git status is git add space dot. There are multiple git add commands. Git add space dot command tells it that I am going to stage all my files that have undergone changes. This dot indicates all of them. Otherwise, instead of dot, if you do not want to stage all your files, just one, you will write the specific file name. In this case, you would write extensions.json. So, but I want all the folders and files that we just created, the entire project skeleton, to be staged and be ready for commit. This is the step that you always do before committing. This is not commit. I'm repeating. This is staging. Git add space dot enter. It has staged all of this, all the folders and the files within that. So my next command is going to be the commit command. Git commit -m is to indicate that I'm writing a message so that I have the history of my commits, the history of changes for audit, for checking, if I want to look at what exactly did I do in the past. This is, let's give message something like create folder structure. Done. All the changes that you have done from the beginning, creation of folders, files, the JSON within extensions, you can look at each and every of them. It gives a summarized view. 11 files changed. Here changed also means added, updated, changed. 9 insertions. These 9 insertions, I believe, would just be from this file alone within extensions. So commit is done. The final step is to push these changes to the remote directory in GitLab. The command to push all my changes now is git push origin main. What does this command tell? Push my changes to origin in this branch. This is the name of the branch, main. We will talk a lot about branches because we will not always work in the main branch. We will check out customized branches to make changes, then we'll push it to main. But right now we are in the beginning of it. The changes are few. We are going to push it to the main branch. This is the classification of the command. Push it to the origin, which is remote here, to the main branch, and enter. Before I click enter, I just want to show you something. Right now, this is the only folder structure in the remote. The actual GitLab, we just have readme and git ignore. It doesn't recognize any of the folders and files that we just created in our local machine. That's what we did. We just created all these in our local hard drive storage. Nothing has been pushed. Once I push it, all of the folders and files we created should be ideally appearing within this repo. Git push origin main, enter. And our push command has fatally failed. Why? Why did this not push our changes to GitLab remote? The reason is straightforward, and this was expected because we have not given the right authentication. GitLab no longer uses password for verification, I should say authentication. So here comes the concept of tokens. We need to create token within GitLab over here, which we will do right now, and give the token to our local repo, so that once authentication is done, you are free to push and pull. Pull is getting information from the remote repo to the local repo, and push is sending information from the local repo to the remote repo. So we will create the token now. The purpose of this tokenization is quite simple. Let's say I am the administrator and I have like 100 more team members who are going to collaborate, and the project lead alone needs to have this token, and he can give authentication to the rest of the team members. Perfect. So this is clear why this failed. So we'll quickly create authentication, which is token over here, and come back and run it here. Try our push command again. Perfect. So go back to your GitLab account, find settings on your site navigation, and jump to access tokens. So right now the project has no active access tokens. We are going to create a new one. Click add new token. Let's give all purpose. We are going to use this token for everything. I'm going to duplicate this for description. This is self-explanatory. Expiration, I'm taking it to the maximum. You cannot set expiration beyond 1 year from the current date. My role would be owner of this repo. Scope of tokens, I am granting everything. API usage, read API, create runners. Runners is part of pipelines. We will discuss this once we start building and deploying. Read, these two are the main ones. Read repository, write repository for pull and push. Registries, yes. AI features, okay. Click on create project access token. Okay, it's not happy with the expiration date. Must be before. Okay, let's give it before September 13th. Try again. Okay, your project access token has been generated. Make sure, read this line. Make sure you save it. You won't be able to access it again. So make sure that you copy the token, save it somewhere safe. Once you have saved your token, come to your local repo, enter this command, git remote set URL origin. This is the primary command. This is my repo's address, and you see your token in caps within the square brackets. Replace that with the copied token. Okay, so I have run my command. I just added some dummy commands here to hide my token. The reason that we gave that is giving access to our local repo to read and write from the remote repos. I hope I was clear before. So mine is set. I've replaced that command with my token and configured it. Let's try git push origin main now. Now you would see that it is running. It is enumerating the objects, counting objects, and it's done. It tells that writing is done. Total, these were the packages, and where has this been pushed to our remote repo in the main branch. How do we verify this? Let's jump to our repo. Let's verify if this token comes only once. Yeah, I don't see a view option, copy option anymore, so I think that was true. Save it safely. Let's get back to our repo. Now look at it. You've got all the files and folder structure that you created in your local. uh, right here, the folder structure that exists in the main repo here in this remote. So this is the basic nature of work that you would be doing. You will be writing your documentation, everything over here in these files, not these files per se. Once you have your user documentation, you will be updating them here. Git add, git commit, and git push. Once you push, it populates your remote repo. And remember one thing, the push will only work if all the data, whether it is syntax, the configurations that you've made, the content that you have written, the images that you have cross-referenced, the links that you have referenced, all work. Only then does the remote repo build and generate the pipeline. For sure, we'll look at all of those in future. We will do troubleshooting. We will make some intentional mistakes and learn from them. So for now, this is the end of the tutorial. I wanted today's tutorial to cover the project skeleton, setting up of authentication between remote and local repo, and doing one process of push, which involves your commits and staging as well. And obviously learn the basic git commands. Today we looked at git status, git add, git commit, and git push. So that's about it. In the next tutorial, we will obviously be committing much more changes. We will configure some of the files. Basically, we'll finish our setup process, and from there on, we'll start the actual writing process and publishing it. So this is going to be a self-paced journey. I would be publishing this weekly. So if you have time, try to cover this. If not, you can watch these together. Thank you for staying so long and good luck.